The star of the dish is definitely the cheese. You don't just scramble cheese on top of that dish. You just put a whole wheel of cheese that you cut in half, and then you just put it on that. Very healthy. You don't need any side, just that is enough.
Hello! Welcome to The Corner Table, a Capital Times podcast about food and drink in Madison. French onion soup, cassoulet with creamy white beans and pork sausage, a crepe tup with sunny-side-up egg. These are things that winter comfort is made of. Virginie Ok learned to cook in Paris, and she brought these homey French classics to her charming Williamson Street restaurant, La Kitchenette, in 2016. I'm your host, Cap Times food writer Lindsay Christians, and this week on the podcast, I'm talking with Virginie about how she makes her home-style French food, as well as the strangest filling she's ever been asked to put in a crepe. Visit captimes.com after the podcast for more info on La Kitchenette, and enjoy! Welcome, Virginie.
Welcome, Lindsay.
Thank you for coming in today.
Thank you for hosting me.
So, first of all, can you tell people a little bit about who you are and what you do?
So, I'm Virginie Ok. I'm the owner and chef of the restaurant La Kitchenette, located in Williamson Street. So, I'm from Paris, and I moved to Madison because my boyfriend got a position at the university, so I decided to quit my job there and start a new adventure here. So I was doing something completely different from the cook industry, but I've always loved cooking at home, mostly with my mom and my grandmother. So we were spending hours cooking Cambodian food. So when I came here, I've always wanted to start my own company. So I was like, maybe why not here? So that worked super well. So I'm a self-taught cook. So I learned everything from reading, and everything comes from practicing.
So you met Nanu of Chez Nanu, and that's kind of how you got connected to La Kitchenette, right?
Exactly. So I remember I arrived in Madison in February 2016, and I went to Chez Nanu on March just to eat at her restaurant, and then I was looking at her place and I was thinking, oh, that's exactly the place I was looking for. But at that time, I didn't know her well, and she didn't tell me anything about wanting to sell the business. So a few months later, she asked me if I wanted to work with her for a month just to help her, because she was low on staff. So I said, yeah, perfectly, I would love it. And 1 month later, she told me that she wanted to sell her business. So it was the perfect time for me and the perfect location. So I was like, oh, yes.
So you made some changes. Like when you took it over, you changed what the decor looked like. You changed the menu a bit. Tell me about kind of what you wanted to create there.
Yeah, so what Nanu Atmosphere as was a very traditional French bistro. It didn't look like what I wanted. I really wanted more like a modern, homey places when you can spend hours just to talk with your friends, talk about anything about life with just a cup of coffee and a very nice dessert. So I really wanted to have more a brighter atmosphere and a very colorful. So I don't have a rule about the decoration. I just put everything I like, even if it doesn't fit together.
So your culinary background, like the food you grew up cooking, you're from Paris and La Kitchenette does French cooking. You also mentioned Cambodian cuisine. So how did you kind of come up with the menu? How did you put that together?
So the first thing is that as I was reusing a space where French restaurant was, for me it was important to keep that French soul, because when you start a new business, it's difficult because you have to get new customers, you have to get used to the neighborhood. And for me, it was very important to keep the customers that were like happy to come in that place. So that's why I wanted to keep the crepes that were there. I wanted to add more homey food like the beef bourguignon, change a bit more the onion soup to make it more tasty and healthy. I don't know if customers noticed that it changed, but I really wanted to change that. I haven't had the chance to put any touch of that Cambodian food in the restaurant yet, but I would love to. So it's more... I just wanted first to people know the restaurant and get used to our food and not be disappointed by that. And then in a few months, I would be happy to add some more of the Cambodian influence I got from my childhood.
Adding some of these dishes in, some of them are just so incredibly comforting and homey, as you mentioned. I think about the crepes that you make. So there's two kinds. There's the savory and wrap and roll. What's the difference?
So the crepe batter is exactly the same. So it's just the way you fold the crepe. You know, when you're in France, when you're in Paris, you have lots of creperies. And usually when you get a crepe, it's often to go. So you just walk in the streets eating your crepe, and so it's folded. So you have many types of way to fold it. You have square, triangle, and I was like, oh, why not roll it like a wrap, you know? And so it's just how it looks like. So it's more like you take it and you bite.
So it's like eating it handheld versus with a knife and fork?
Exactly.
So how often do you change the fillings that are in those, and how do you decide what goes inside?
So the fillings are always the same, but on every Wednesday we have build your own crepe deal. So customers can come at the restaurant and just build their own crepe.
Are there some weird combinations that people do?
Oh, okay. We had one very weird combination that was sour cream sauce with smoked salmon and Nutella.
That sounds terrible. Like, I was like, sour cream, salmon, I'm on board. Yeah. And then Nutella, I just,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, we were the same when we received the ticket. Nutella? Are you sure? Was it the Nutella for the crepes or was it for the bread? No, it was for the crepe.
And they liked it?
I guess so.
That's so crazy. So what are some of your favorite fillings that you like?
So my favorite fillings as a savory one is a very classical one that is called crêpe complète. So we did that on Taste of Madison Festival. So it's a super simple one. It's just ham, cheese, and a sunny egg. And it's amazing.
Yeah. That sounds so good.
Yeah, and the sweet favorite, my favorite sweet one is banana and dark chocolate together.
Oh, that sounds great. Yeah. Is the dark chocolate like a sauce?
Yeah, it's a homemade dark chocolate sauce.
The desserts at La Kitchenette are gorgeous. They're so beautiful.
Thank you.
And they're so delicate. I wonder, so did you grow up learning how to make those desserts, or how did you learn that?
So I just learned from scratch. So one of the desserts is a fondant. So this is like a very traditional French. In all bistro you will find a chocolate fondant, and I'm a chocolate lover, and what I do like about our fondant is that, you know, when you eat a brownie, or you have the crust and you have the filling inside, and usually you get rid of the crust and you just want to eat what is super soft and melty. So that's how I wanted the fondant to be. So it's only the melting chocolate part of the fondant. You don't have any crust.
And it's dark chocolate?
It's dark chocolate, Belgium dark chocolate.
Oh my gosh, that sounds so good. One of the dishes that I was looking at that you do sometimes as a special, right, is the cassoulet. Tell me how you put that together and what you do.
The cassoulet is a southwest dish from France. What is super special about that dish is the combination of velvety white beans with the delicious flavor of the meat. So it's usually pork meat, pork sausage, and duck confit. The cooking process for that dish is super long because you have to. So at La Kitchenette, we do our own duck confit. So you need to do it ahead of time, and then you have all that part that takes a long part, and then you have also the soaking part of the beans, and you have to put everything down and like bake it for hours and keep it cold and then reheat it. And what is very important about the cassoulet is the pork rind, because we put pork rind on the bottom of the dish. And the pork rind is super important. You cannot avoid putting that because that makes the white beans super melting.
That's an interesting dish because it is like a peasant dish, but it does have some of those expensive ingredients in it.
Yeah.
Harder to find.
It's rustic, but with very precious ingredients and fresh ingredients. And
yeah. So I love the onion soup, with the gratinée. It's like grilled cheese and soup in the same.
That's so simple, but that's so comfy.
It is so comfy. And there was another dish you did recently that looked like it had pieces of brie in it. Like, what was that?
It's called the tartiflette. So it's a very mountain dish. So it's you put that in a cassolette, and so it's very simple. It's very simple ingredient because it's bacon, onions, potatoes, but they're all cooked and with white wine and nutmegs. But the star of the dish is definitely the cheese. You don't just scramble cheese on top of that dish. You just put a whole wheel of cheese that you cut in half, and then you just put it on that. Very healthy.
Oh my God. I was like, and then you sleep for the rest of the week.
Exactly. You don't need any side. Just that is enough.
Just that. That's plenty. I feel like, during the winter, we want these sort of warm, comforting flavors. Are there dishes that you look forward to making when it gets cold out?
Yeah, exactly. I think that when it's cold outside, you need to get comfort. And for me, comfort food needs to be simple but tasty. No shishi. You don't need to go to a 5-star Michelin restaurant.
It doesn't need to be super elegant. It
Exactly.
can just be approachable home cooking. Are there things that are really popular with some of your regulars that people come back for? What are they most interested in?
So there is one dish that I love doing during the winter. It's called petit, salé aux lentilles. So it's a dish with a simmering salty pork that lay on a lentil bed. For me, that dish is super comfy and homey because you have the warm lentils that are like super melting in your mouth. And then you have the very soft simmering pork. And the salty pork with the lentils goes super well together. And it's one of the very traditional French dish that I love doing as a special. And customers love it.
The pork itself, is it like pork shoulder?
So you can use different pieces of pork. So you can use pork ribs, pork shoulder bird. Usually you do a mix of different cuts of pork. And you have to simmer the pork for hours until it's super tender, and you simmer it with aromatic herbs.
Do you skim as you simmer?
Yeah, you have to keep an eye on it.
Are there aromatics in the lentils as well? Like, do you do it with carrot?
Yeah,
onion?
also the lentils needs aromatic, so we usually put black peppercorn, onions, carrot, thyme, bay leaf, cloves.
It sounds like it would just be so lovely in its aroma too.
Yeah, it's crazy how the lentil catch all those aromas when they are boiled, and you really feel it. You can really taste it.
When do you sort of transition over to spring? It will be after like a couple of months when it starts to warm up?
Yeah.
Are there things that you look forward to in the spring as well?
So for the spring, I'm really looking for all the fruits, I guess all the fruits, because I love making desserts and I love making all the French desserts that are very also simple, but just, a simple tart with fruits, it's delicious.
When is La Kitchenette open?
So we are open 6 days a week. So from Tuesday to Friday, we are open for lunch from 11 to 2 p.m. and then for dinner from 6 to 9 p.m. And then for Saturday and Sunday, for the brunch, we open from 9 to 2. And then we are open for Saturday night from 6 to 9 p.m. And we are closed. So the only day we are closed are Sunday dinner and Monday.
And you do beer and wine?
We do beer and wine, of course.
Yes. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing some of this with me. I appreciate it. This has been The Corner Table, a podcast about food and drink in Madison produced by the Capital Times. Our music was composed by Patrick Christians. Find out more about La Kitchenette and other food and drink news at captimes.com. You can subscribe to The Corner Table wherever you get your podcasts, and follow us on Facebook at Corner Table Podcast. I am your host, Cap Times food writer Lindsay Christians, and my wish for you this week is a bowl of soup and a grilled cheese. If you want to be French about it and combine them, more power to you. Stay warm, Madison. Cheers.